Today I will take you on a photography location scouting trip. I am joined by my good friend Mattia, a nature enthusiast and scout leader in his spare time. We will explore 4 distinct locations that are quite close to each other, despite having unique characteristics and features, and are full of potential. The first location consists of flooded meadows that border a forest full of caves and sinkholes, which is typical for a karst topography. We also catch a glimpse of a beautiful green bird. The second location shows a sight of green meadows, clear blue skies, and brown autumn leaves. Next up, we explore a vast meadow covered with water, shrubs, and mud, which makes our movement difficult and our feet wet. Yet we press on. Finally, just in time to catch the sunset, we'll visit a section of Notranska Regional Park, which is home to mountain peaks with breathtaking views, an intermittent lake, natural bridges, a mystical underground world, crystal clear streams, and magical forests. Without a doubt, a location with enormous potential, including a diverse bird population as well as bears, lynx, and coyotes. In the second part of the video, Mattia and I will pitch our tents and sleep through the night on the camping ground near the first location, where we will set up our photo blind. Watch the video to find out which animal got close to us during the night and how the morning of wildlife photography went. Okay, now from the beginning. Early in the morning, I prepared all my equipment and put it in the car, while waiting for Mattia to arrive. We drove towards the first location, but because I was driving, I didn't film anything until we stopped. And we didn't stop because we wanted to, but because there was a whole river flowing where there should only be a tiny stream, completely overflowing the road. We had to turn around and find another way to get to our destination. That set us back a few minutes, but the day was off to a good start anyway. We parked the car and got ready to explore the area. I took my camera equipment with me, and Mattia carried binoculars. We had only been walking for around 10 minutes when we already spotted a big bird flying near the trees at the edge of the meadow. It was far away, but I'm pretty sure it was just a common buzzard. We observed it while it moved along the trees and then disappeared into the forest. We continued walking and came across a cave with an easily accessible entrance. It looked safe, so we entered what turned out to be a small cave, maybe 20 meters deep and 50 meters tall at the tallest point. The water was dripping from the ceiling, but otherwise it was empty. Next on our plan was to find an appropriate spot where I could set up my trail camera. We explored the forest for a while and finally decided on this exact location because there was a trail running through the forest that was made by animals. We also spotted many footprints, which is always a good sign. While Mattia was further exploring this spot, I prepared the camera. I put in 8 freshly charged batteries and checked all the settings to make sure that the camera would work correctly. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Then Mattia helped me, and together we attached the camera to the tree. I always use a combination of a strap and a simple metal bike lock to make sure that the camera stays where I leave it. When that was done, I just added some fallen branches and leaves to better camouflage the camera. I was happy with the setup, so we continued our walk. We also came across many footprints in the mud, but it was hard to identify the animal on most of them. We were already on our way back to the car when Mattia spotted two Eurasian jays. At first I couldn't locate them, so he helped me, and I managed to capture a few photos. While I was taking photos, Mattia spotted another bird. This time it was the European green woodpecker, a bird that I haven't photographed before. Great job and thank you, Mattia. I took a few photos just in case the bird would fly away. And then I decided to change my lens. The Sigma 70-200 just wasn't getting me close enough to capture a good photo, so I took my 150-600 out of the backpack and switched the two lenses. Luckily, the bird was still there. It just moved a few trees to the left. While I was switching lenses, Mattia kept his eyes on the bird, so as soon as I was ready to take the photos again, he again guided me to where the bird was. I captured these photos, and I am very happy with how they turned out. After that, we left for location number 2. This place is a perfect blend of green meadows, clear blue skies and brown autumn leaves. Despite all the dry leaves making a lot of noise while walking, we managed to sneak up on a young male roe deer. As you can see from the photos, he really wasn't interested in us. I also spotted a woodpecker, but it was positioned on the tree in such a way that I couldn't get a good photo without the branches in front of the bird. But I do hope that it got some tasty worms from that tree. Location number 3 was a vast meadow covered with water, shrubs and mud, which made our movement difficult and our feet wet. Between jumping over the puddles, I photographed a very loud common raven, but since the sun was still pretty high up in the sky, the light in this photo isn't that nice. After navigating through the meadow and avoiding the flooded areas as much as possible, it was time to head to our last location. We drove for about half an hour before we reached the Notranska Regional Park. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this park offers some really breathtaking views of the intermittent lake, natural bridges, crystal clear streams and magical forests. Besides that, it is home to bears, lynx and coyotes, predators that are on every photographer's list. We arrived just in time to catch the last sun rays, beautifully shaping the landscape. The reflection of the sky in the calm lake was such a pleasant and calming sight to witness. We both very much enjoyed it. Just from walking around and observing the nature, I could tell that this location is a gem for everyone who enjoys calm nature that is full of life. Definitely a landscape or wildlife photographer's dream. Oh, and I also got this photo of a great egret. It was moving slowly through the shallow water, hunting for small fish or amphibians. I just took off my backpack, crouched down behind it, and put the camera on it to reduce the shaking. That was almost an hour after the sunset, so the light was getting weak, and at the f6.3 aperture you don't get much to work with, but I still think it's a lovely photo. While I was photographing, this Eurasian magpie was looking at me, so I decided to capture a photo of it as well. We hiked to this beautiful wooden hide overlooking the lake to cap off a successful day of location scouting. I will definitely put this spot on my list of potential locations for sunrise time-lapse photography. After a few days of bad weather, Mattia and I were already impatient and very eager to go back to one of the locations and do some wildlife photography from a photo blind. In the late afternoon, we arrived at the location number 1, just in time for a stunning golden hour sky. First, we carried the photography blind and 2 chairs to the spot near the river. We chose this specific spot because it gave us an unobstructed view in 3 out of 4 directions, while keeping the back side of the blind close to the bushes. This way, the blind was less noticeable and blended with the bushes pretty well. We also wanted to be just the right distance away from the river, so if the animal would show up and go there to drink, we would be able to capture it perfectly. We also considered the path of the rising sun, because light can make or break the image. When the blind was standing in its place, we placed our chairs inside to prevent it from being blown away by the wind. Our next task was to pitch our tents. Mattia decided where we should place them, and we quickly started putting them up, because it was getting dark very soon. After a warm meal, we went to bed. The night wasn't that cold. It was only around 0 degrees Celsius, and we came well prepared with warm sleeping bags and extra clothing. Now it's time to tell you about our late night visitor. I know it sounds scary, but I was actually very excited that it happened. We finished our dinner and went to bed. I was almost sleeping when I heard one of my favorite animal calls, the Ural owl, Strix uralensis. By now you know me well enough to know how obsessed I am with owls, and this one was so close. I could hear its calls so clearly, it gave me goosebumps. So I didn't hesitate even for a minute. I quickly jumped out of my warm sleeping bag and grabbed my audio equipment that I had with me. I quietly left the tent and started looking for a spot where I could place my microphones. In the meantime, another owl started making calls, probably talking to the owl that was closer to us. I found a small tree near our tent that was perfect, and I set the microphones there. Unfortunately, there was a highway far in the distance. The sounds that the cars make travel very far, and because it was night time, those sounds were even louder than the ambience. But in that moment, I didn't care. The microphones were recording their late night conversation, while Mattia and me were sleeping in our tents. Now, it's finally time to show you the recordings. Again, the road was far too loud, and I've had better recordings in the past. But I'm very glad I got this one, because the ambience filled with owls calling was such a soothing experience to fall asleep to. I already processed this recording to remove the sounds of the road a little bit, so you can hear the owls more easily. Alright, I think the calls start here. The owls actually stopped calling for a few minutes when I was outside the tent, but when I was already back in and laying in my sleeping bag, they started calling again. As you can see, I have this visualization of the sound, and you can see here and here and here those small yellow dots. Those are the calls. You can see they are in the lower frequency range, and they're just short sounds. I will skip this one because there was the sound of a car passing, and we can start with this one. Oh, so beautiful. Okay, now back to the video. In the morning, we woke up about 3 hours before the sunrise. We made ourselves a delicious breakfast and then headed to the photo blind. The morning was very foggy and visibility was low, but we prepared all the equipment in the hope that it would clear out. We waited and waited. It was cold, damp, and visibility was very poor. Around noon, we called it a day and headed back home without any photos. Now you might think that the morning was a failure because we didn't get any photos, but it actually wasn't, because we were surrounded with this stunning nature and in a good company. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.